Okay, welcome everybody. We're gonna start today. We're gonna work on the Feeding Futures Spring Survey, and we're gonna be answering all the questions together. So feel free to ask any questions if you have while we are answering. Okay. So before I start, everybody knows that the second installment is coming at the end of April. So just keep in mind that look and or check with your finance department if it's been deposited. We don't have the day specific yet, but as soon we know it, we will share with you guys. But just keep that in mind. The due date for this survey is March 7th. So hopefully by the end of today, we receive so many after people is able to do it with me together with this seminar. What else I'm forgetting? Well, maybe something else will come to my mind during this webinar, but I'm going to start right now so we have some extra time later to have some questions and just chat about the program. So I'm excited to see everybody. I put the link of the survey in the chat in case you guys want to start doing it with me, in the people who is joining just now. I'm going to start as I'm going to pretend that I'm at school. So I'm going to be filling this information with some that are not real information for me in this case. So I will write that my school is FISA school. My ministry, my school ministry code. It's always, remember, is these 8 numbers that you have. It normally starts with your school district. So I will just make a number right now. If you cannot find your school ministry code, feel free to email me or send me a quick text, and I will be trying to help you. Maybe not right now, but after this. My name is Rocio. Sorry. And I'm gonna put my email. Okay, so we're gonna start talking about the first question, that is, what type of food program does your school support through Feeding Futures funding? And I know there are only 3 options right now, but I'm gonna explain a little bit what I am looking for this question. So breakfast program, lunch program, and snack program. If your school is offering a breakfast program, let's see, once a week, we will consider that a breakfast program. If your school is offering these food programs only once a month or once every 3 months, then we are not gonna add it here. We're gonna add it a little bit later into the survey. So for the purpose of this, I will say also, for what I understand for breakfast program is if your school puts some milk and muffins, that will be considered breakfast program. If your school has, it could be as simple as, oh, I have toast and some jelly and some of peanut butter, or well, not peanut butter, but some kind of butter to put it on there, that will be considered also breakfast program. It's a little bit more about if this is kind of like a little bit more often or not. So if you are doing it like on a weekly basis or on a daily basis, please write yes. If you are doing it more sporadic, please do not write yes, write no, and then we can talk a little bit more later. So I will say that I do not offer a breakfast program at this moment. I offer a lunch program. Lunch program will go in the same. Will go something like, you can have like a buffet style. You can have some questions. Some maybe just some like a cater coming or these kind of things. I see a question in the chat. Give me a sec. If you're asking starting our breakfast next week, yes, that kind of say yes for sure. But you can add it like as a yes. And a snack program. I know a lot of the schools are using snacks program. That means putting a bowl of fruit, in the office, or having some granola bars in the classrooms. So all those kind of varieties of snacks programs, please write yes if you are using one of those. Don't worry if you're only using gift cards. Don't worry, we're gonna have another space to put that one. So if you are not using any of those, please feel free to write no. There is no wrong answers in this survey. So just feel free to write whatever is working or is in the specifically for your school. So I'm gonna move on into the next one. Does your school participate in any other school food program outside the ones above that is using Feeding Futures, such as? So here is your term if you are using grocery cards. If you're using a combination of both, feel free to add yes here in grocery cards. So I will say yes, that I am using grocery cards in my food program. Then I put other programs for you to choose. So for example, I write backpack buddies or a similar program. You don't need to be using backpack buddies per se, but if you're using something similar, you feel free to write yes. If there is nothing like that, looks like that in your school, feel free to write no. Remember, no wrong answers here. A school pantry. Let me see. I see another. Is the snack program only for students who are struggling with food, or you can put it for all your students? We right now what we want. The purpose of that question is just to know what the schools are doing in general as a food program. So you know, like I know there are from feeding futures, but if your snack program is for everybody who is using it, feel free to write yes. You forgot yes. Carrie, that answered your question? You can give me a thumbs up. That would be great. Okay. Okay, thank you, Carrie. Perfect. So I will have here that I'm not using backpack buddies. There are some schools that having a school pantry. That means that, you know, they are having some special, some of them call it like the snack bin, the snack cover. Really, it's you know, you can decide where to go in that, in, you know, if you decide to go yes or no, if that's something that works for your school. Grocery hampers, some schools decide to do it on Christmas, some schools are deciding to do some boxes, or you know, some groceries, you know, at the end of Fridays. So really you can, it's kind of like a big picture here to see if that enters in you. But if you feel that you would like to share something more specific about what your school are doing, it's always great for me to know specific programs or specific, you know, organizations that you're using. So some of the examples that I have here is some schools are saying, well, I don't do a daily breakfast or a daily lunch, but I do monthly lunches, or we're doing some you know, some events every term that we bring the community together and we, you know, we eat all together, and we are subsidized some part of those programs. So please feel free to add it here. I add, for example, Christmas hampers if you already did that one. Some schools are using, for example, something called food share that are they are together with the food bank, and they provide boxes of food every week, so you know the families can take these. There is other programs that call like Good Food Box. You can ask here if for any of you are participating in the BC Agricultural program, you can add here. So this is a good part for you guys to share your resources or share any organizations that you're happy with and you're working with, that we can all work together and you know, and find more resources. If you don't have any other program and you already reply any of these, good. So I'm gonna write no on school, and I'm gonna write no on grocery hampers just for this. I'm gonna move on. I don't know if there was a new question, or so that includes. So sorry. So this includes we are using all the feeding. We're using feeding futures funding for. You mean in the you mean for the number 5, Tania? Sorry, I was a little bit behind in my questions.
Yes, number 5. Yes, that's correct.
Yes, yeah, that you're using your feeding filters. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank.
USCO, can I just add, if somebody's using funding for something that hasn't been identified yet, please put it in the other program. So whatever you're using your funding for, we want it reflected in this survey.
Thank you, Janet. Yes, please. Anything that you are not using, for example, Jenny, if you are not using backpack buddies, that's why I wrote no. Anything that you are not doing, please write no. So then when the data comes into the Excel, you know, we know exactly that what is a yes and what is a no. So yes, feel free to, or actually I encourage you guys to do yes and no if you are not part of that program.
But Rocio, I think Jenny's asking, even if they haven't spent money on a particular program now, but they have it in their plans, should they be writing down yes, or should they write down no? So they haven't spent it, but it's part of what they anticipate.
Jenny, maybe you can write yes, and then please in other programs, can you give me a little bit of, we will start in March, or we will start next year. I have few people who's starting backpack buddies at the end of the spring break. So they wrote yes, but they are giving me a little note on others saying when you're planning to start. So just for us to keep track of, what programs we'll be using this year. If that, thank you, Jenny. Okay, moving on into the next one. So this will be, how do you identify students in need of Feeding Futures funding? So now we have the option to click more than one. For this purpose of this exercise, I will say that I use the school financial assistance system. I'm also gonna say that family self-identified. And I will also say that a staff member identified potential students in need. There is always the option to write other. There are a few people, I found very interesting that some schools write on their survey saying, the food is there, and if the children finish their lunch and they still feeling hungry, the teachers will offer some extra snacks to them. So that's kind of like not specific for, they are not self-identified, but the children is hungry, so the teachers will just go and give them some extra snacks. You can write also any other specifics that are not covered in these 5 options. You can write you can click as many as you want. You can write that. You can use, we send a letter to the, Carrie, you can write, we send a letter to the family. So we have a Google form, or, you can always share a little bit, how did the family self-identify, or how do you use your school financial assistance? So that always gives us a lot of extra, at the big picture for us to help future schools that are struggling with this, so we can give some ideas for them to know what other options they have. So, okay, did anybody has any questions about number 7? No. Okay, I'm gonna move on into the next one. I hope I'm not going as fast. I hope I'm going slow, but if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me. Approximately what is the percentage of students in your school that have an identified need? I know this is a tricky question because some of you are just, using different ways to find what is happening or how you're doing it. Just this is an average of what you see on the first months. Some people, some principals been telling me that it's been increasing. That they see at the beginning that maybe 10 to 25% being see as a need, and then after families start seeing what the program is and everything, they found that they increase a little bit more. So feel free to go as the number that you have right now, whatever close number that is closer to what is happening at this moment. So I will say that 25 to 50% of my students being identified as need. And this is the one that everybody is working very hard in this. So let's move to number 9. That is, how does your school food program support students in a way that reduces stigma? So we know that this is one of the tricky parts for everybody in schools. And I'm going to give you some options of what I've been seeing and what I've been hearing. So the easy ones is like, for example, snacks are available for all in the classroom. Snacks are there. There is not a stigma there. There are some other options saying, for example, hot lunches orders are placed online, so nobody really see who order or who do not. We have some like grocery cards are given out privately. Some of the principals say that they put it in a little envelope and nobody see it. They put it on report like when they send some newsletters to the families or something, that is on a paper in a little folder. We also have using of vouchers. Some schools that have a big percentage of their students in need are using just a regular universal program. So really, this is gonna depend on how you are doing it in your own school. And I know it's a very open question, but just we know where all of us are trying our best to do it. So feel free to add whatever is working for you and how you're doing it. So I don't know if anybody has any specific questions about this. I know this could be one of the tricky questions. Okay. Awesome. I have very good students today. Perfect. So I'm going to keep moving into the next one. And we're going to have some time at the end to discuss the specifics if something comes up to your mind, okay? So I'm going to say, we're going to talk about the next question, that is, who prepares the food for your school food program? There is also a lot of variety here that you can do. In my case, for this exercise, I'm going to say that my teachers are preparing. I do not have a cafeteria. Students are helping. I do not have any other nonprofit groups. I also don't have any cater service. Oh, but you know what? Sometimes we ask for pizza, or we have some sandwiches from Subway. So I'm gonna write restaurants. And if I still using, or I have a mix of both, let's see that I still using gift cards, but also have a lunch, I can write here. If you're not, feel free to write no. I'm coming to the chat. Give me a sec. You can say that regarding the pack, it could be non-teachers. So can you write it in cafeteria non-teachers? So that will be that is not nobody from your staff. Oh yeah, sorry. That's a good idea. I will keep it in my notes. We'll next time I will add for sure that the pack. Thank you for that.
Rocio,
Okay.
that's an excellent catch, and we didn't think about that. But maybe in addition to marking it as cafeteria staff, non-teachers, in the final, at the very end, there's a place for comments. If you could just go back and say on number 10, we're using our pack. That's our oversight. We should have included that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so we are using, where is the food used in the school food programs source from? So here I have also a place for other, but I'm gonna start just in the big picture. So I will say that is from, let me just take a question first. Could we also add volunteer parents who are not PAC? Yes, sorry about that. Yes, we should be adding some volunteers, that's for sure. Thank you. Yes, you add it also in the cafeteria staff, no teachers, and then give me a note at the end of that. So I am learning so much from this today too, guys. So thank you, I appreciate that. Yes, that will be, you can do it as a, Berenice, you can do that. The question is, if we have contacted a local bakery to produce some baked items, is that a contracted third party, or that will be a restaurant? You can put it either or. Like I will say that if you are, that could be a contracted party because it's kind of like a cater service that you ask for. So thank you. Jenny, also just staff, no cafeteria staff. Yeah, sorry, yeah, that will be also, that is not teachers, just staff, could be some admins or something. So thank you so much for adding them. Thank you so much for, working in this and putting in the comments. I really appreciate that. Okay, moving on into where is the food use in your school food programs source from? This will be grocery stores. I'm gonna say yes. I don't use any food distributor. Sometimes I use restaurants and fast food. I do not use farms or bakeries, sorry. I do not buy my things from e-commerce. That could be Amazon. Donated. This could be something that your pack, or you are using food banks. Anybody who is sharing any food or giving you any food, you can write it. In my case, I don't have anybody. And I will say that I am also using some gift cards today. Give me a sec. I'm going back to it. If we have a word from Tracy, regarding your question about your own garden, I will write it in other. Because it will be considered not a farm. Farm is will be something that is outside your school. So if you can write that, please, on your on other. I have a lot of schools referring to their own gardens and own things that they are doing in their own school as in other. So if you can please add that one there, I will appreciate it. Thank you. So for example, I write here any other local stores, and I put it on purpose like this because I know we are schools from all over the province, and I always appreciate if you write the name of the stores that are working, especially in your area, that help me to connect other schools that are closer to you guys to those services. So if you have any local food bank or any local thing that is working for you, please add it here. Okay, give me a sec. I'm taking. Yeah, please, Berenice, if you are using any funds from these, like you bought some of the, either food or you use some of your appliance or something like, I know that doesn't go in, but feel free to just write that you use some e-commerce. And I know it's exactly the food, but, oh, well, Janet, what do you think about that one? Actually, I'm gonna ask your advice in this one. Should we just concentrate in food?
As Rocio said earlier, we're learning a lot about survey design, and we'll simply say that we took this survey from the public school districts, so we didn't necessarily create it. We are using Amazon to purchase some utensils and baskets. Does the e-commerce only refer to food itself or food support items?
Janet, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Yes.
Because on the actual grant proposal and the information we got back, it does allow for buying utensils or small appliances for support
Absolutely.
that. So that's why I was just wondering, because it says like for using the food, like Amazon, but we're not buying food from Amazon, but we are buying some of those support things for the food. So is that okay to say yes?
As Rocio said earlier, there's no wrongs on this. We're just trying to figure out what's common practice. I would say right now, though, the ministry is very keen to find out where food is being sourced from, because part of the overall picture would be to support local, to support the BC economy through buying local food when possible. So let's not have you put utensils or appliances under this at all. When you're looking at number 11, let's just have you think about your food. And then, of course, in the comment at the end, you could just talk about how you're also using, Amazon to give you a good price and fast delivery on some of your other things that are in support of the food. But for 11, let's just keep it clean to where are you getting your food? Thanks, Bernice. Great question.
Yes, thank you. And yes, remember you are allowed to buy some appliances. So this is not a no, okay? Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna go on number 12. And this is looking forward, do you anticipate your BC produce food purchase will? And as Janet was mentioned, for the Ministry of Education is very important that, in the future, we start building right now, a better way that we will consume some BC products. So you may not, we know that this year, none of us were taking notes of what we're getting. We are just something that they want to put in the back of our heads about how important it is to just buy local. So I will say that at this moment, probably I will stay the same. Okay, thank you, Jenny. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna move now into the next ones. So what organizations or groups has your school partnered with to deliver your school food programs? I'm gonna start first with the first one, that is food banks or Salvation Army or any other nonprofit organization. In my case, I will say for this time, no yet or no. Third-party providers, if you're using anybody who is a caterer, you're using, please feel free. Like there are a lot of like Lunch Mama, Munch Lunch, all those kind of things. Please write here if you're using that, even though that they are a platform. Restaurants, I would say yes. I will say also that the food is prepared on site by staff. And because all my survey has been talking about that I've been using gift cards, I will say also that we're using gift cards. Yes, Yes, you know what? It's true. It should be adding, the pack should be there also. Could you please write it on other? As Janet was mentioned, all like most of this survey is being taken, it's like a short version from what the ministry is asking schools. So yes, please, feel free to add in other if you are using your pack or your parents, in case there nothing is mentioned in these 5 options that we're giving. For example, I wrote here about cups, bread. I learned recently that a lot of the schools are, getting some bread from cups. Cups is very because it's a franchise. If you want to get some special deals and everything, feel free to contact your own or your local one. So I just added in case you have some specific ideas, feel free to don't, if you don't have anything else, you don't write it there. So sorry, I forgot to write notes.
Rocio,
Yes.
sorry, I have a question. Am I misreading this? It says we are utilizing FFF for grocery cards only this year. So I selected no because I'm using it for other things. Like I'm reading that as saying we're only buying grocery cards. The wording is strange on that. So
Yeah, now that you're saying it, that makes sense for sure. Um, could you, Tracy, write maybe if there are some schools that are only using gift cards. There are schools that are using a mix and match, like probably they're using some grocery cards and some food. So if you're using grocery cards, maybe could you write, that you're using, you're right, that the wording is a little bit confusing and I apologize for that. So Janet, do you have any advice regarding this?
Yeah, we can, Rocio, as soon as we finish this, we can go in and change the language on that question just to say, we'll take out the word only. So let's have people, if you're using grocery cards in addition to other things, go ahead and click the grocery cards. And then we'll be able to tell that you're also using other ways because we'll be able to see more answers. So I can actually do that right now to fix the survey no, actually, if you're working on the survey along with us, if I go in and change a question, it will erase your other answers. So I'll do it after we finish the webinar in order to give you a chance. But yes, ignore the word only and answer it as if it had if it just, we are using grocery cards. Sorry, folks, we're living and learning together.
This is such a seminar learning for me too. So I appreciate your comments. It's always good to have somebody else reading it and helping us to do this together. So thank you. Sorry, I know I have few questions here. Oh, okay, Jenny, thank you. Okay, moving on into number 14. How much of the food served at your school is prepared or cooked on site? That will depend on each school. Now I take a note from Tracy, and I'm also going to change the using of only. So we're going to change that language. But I will say that at this point, for example, in my school will be over 50% because most of the food is being used from there. Okay, moving into the next one will be what is the average cost of your regular breakfast program per student per day? This question is more about how much is costing if you have a breakfast program. It doesn't have to be by Feeding Futures, just a regular breakfast program. How much it costs? This question, what we are looking for is to understand what is the real cost of this program without the funding. So there are a few different options. Normally breakfast is a little bit cheaper than lunch. So for the sake of this exercise, I'm gonna say that is less than $5. I'm talking about here, for example, if you're doing toast and milk, if you're doing maybe a muffin and milk, if you're doing maybe some fruits or yogurt and milk, or a yogurt and muffin, something like that. Hopefully the average is less than 5 per meal. Maybe I am, whatever is going in your budget, please add it here. Now the second question will be, what is the average cost of your breakfast program that per student, okay, that is with an identified need? So now this second question is for us to know how much less money they are paying, or how much the funding is helping, okay? So because a lot of you are subsidizing this, I will say that my breakfast program is free. If you are not using a breakfast program or a lunch program, feel free to write, we are not having one of those ones. Any questions regarding here? I know these questions were a little bit tricky for some people, so hopefully we can, it was clear.
Question, Rocio,
Yeah.
if you're offering like hot lunch just once a week,
Mhm.
would that fall into still a regular lunch program?
Yes, if it's once a week, I will consider yes, if you're doing it through the full school year. Is that
Okay.
how it's working?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yes, please. Unless it's just every 3 months or something, that won't be considered a lunch program. But if you're doing it once a week, right now we're putting it like just for the average, how much it's costing, because I know most of the schools are not doing this daily. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna move now. The other two questions will be very similar. Once again, going to what is the average cost of your regular lunch program per student per day? Normally, lunch programs are a little bit more expensive than a breakfast program. Once again, this is based in the regular one, how much it costs. So I will say that it goes from 5 to 10. I will go back to the question in a second. Give me a second. And then I'm gonna say the next question will be, what is the average cost when per student per day with an identified need? Most of the schools are giving some vouchers, or they are subsidizing these or paying half. Some of them are paying full. But for my school, I will say that we are giving it free. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to here. Once a month will be not considered a hot lunch program, or we'll put it more in the notes saying that you offer that once a month, because that will be only around 10 times or 8 times during the year. So if we can add that into your comment, I will appreciate that, Caroline. Okay. So now we're moving into which local food education initiatives or programs does your school presently offer. And this is how much we are, teaching and moving and doing. And I know schools are doing an amazing job on this. So you can click as many as you are doing, or you can add anything else that we are not here, and that your school is doing, that I know there are great ideas. So for example, the first one is growing foods for students' consumption through school gardens, farms, or greenhouses. Integrating local food literacy concepts in your classroom, I will say yes, this is for me. Also integrating field trips to the farms, I would say yes. Having farmers visiting the classroom, promoting local produce foods at the school via cafeteria signs, posters, newsletters, hosting community events focused on local foods. There are some schools that are doing some harvesting or some planting together, so feel free to click here, yes. And I will write other. As a Montessorian, I always proud of being Montessorian. I always say that, we always teach our kindergarten, so our children, very young age, to start preparing some healthy snacks. So something that you can put, something that you are doing specifically in your school, feel free to add it here. It's always, I've been reading so amazing programs that the schools are doing it. So feel free to shine. This question is for you guys to shine. Number 20, to what degree does your current level of feeding filters funding allow you to feed all of the students with an identified need at your school? And I know hopefully by this time we have a little bit more of knowing how much we've been helping, we're trying to help. So I will say that my funding is been going well. Feel free to write, if you feel that it was not enough, if you feel that is fulfilling everything that you need. So once again, there are no wrong answers. So please feel free to be very honest and write how much this been helping. We're going into the 21, and that is, does your school, do you have a school garden that supplements your school food programs? For everybody who was asking or telling me about where you can add your food program, your garden, this is where we can add it. Some of you guys are starting a garden this year, so I will say that we are starting a garden this year. If you don't have a garden, feel free to write no. And if you already have one, well, yes is always your option. So the last few questions are a little bit more open. And I will just give you some ideas, and maybe after I will stop sharing my screen and we can chat a little bit more, because it's always very, for me, it's always very encouraging listening to what is happening in schools. So this is, are there any opportunities you can think of to improve your current school food program? What do you need to make these improvements? So there are so many options, and I've been reading amazing responses. So I'll copy one just for you, just to share what some other people are doing. And it's like, we have contracted out an outside provider to offer hot lunch at the school, and we are working to working on developing a program to bring down the cost for families that need it. There are some other ones that are saying we are trying to, we are organizing in this first year, planning for the year ahead, maybe contacting some other organizations. We are going to start maybe Backpack Buddy next year. We're going to start with our milk program next year, or we are just very, just getting together our dogs and putting just snacks this year. So everything that you are kind of like doing right now, but then something that you think that you can do and you can improve, please write it here. What are the barriers? What barriers are there to growing your school food program to serve all the students with an identified need? Some of the big picture that I wrote here, and please give me details, because I feel that this will help me also when we present our reports at the end of June, how we can, work about with these in the coming years for the funding is. Some of the common areas are staffing, the space or the facilities that we have. Some schools do not have enough storage to, put the bonds or put the extra things that are bringing. Some schools are saying that they would like to get some extra funds. And I mean, of course, I cannot promise anything, right? But it's good that we know what is missing, what is happening here, what we need, to keep reporting these, and hopefully, keep growing this and make it better. And the last part is, what parts of your program are you most proud of? And do you have any students' message or studies about your program that you would like to share? So feel free to write, anything that you feel proud, anything that is working for you, anything that you feel that, next year you're gonna continue doing this. So it's always, this is a treat. This is a treat for all the Feeding Futures coordinators that we are doing this around the province, with the school districts and myself. And it always makes us feel very exciting when we see how schools are working very hard, because we are the middle person, that you guys are the ones who are doing the hard work. So we really, we appreciate to hear how proud you're feeling about this. And in the comments, please put anything that is missing in the survey, now that we know that there are a few little things here and there that we're missing. Or also, please feel free to add anything that you feel that I can help you with. There are some schools that are asking me for some resources about farms, if I can find any links for them to help with, milk programs, or anything that you feel that I can also help you. I will appreciate that you added to this part too, or anything that we were missing in the survey that you feel that it was not asked, or there was not an answer from there, feel free to add it here. So I'm going to stop right now sharing my screen and maybe bring everybody back into the big picture, so then we can chat if you have any specific questions. So remember to press done. So it's gone, because if you don't press done, then you lose all your answers and all the beautiful work that you've been done today. So I'm going to stop sharing.